Welcome to the Maya Angelou Project Conversations, a podcast that celebrates diversity and representation in children's storytelling, entertainment, and edutainment. I am the host, Olunosen Louisa Ivaze. On this podcast, I chat with authors and creators of children's books, entertainment, and edutainment. This is also a collaboration with the Ottawa Black Book Club. So welcome Trashina Conner, the lovely author of 18 Ingredients to Make Daddy. My name is Olunosen Louisa Ivaze, also known as the Maya Angelou, also known as Lady Louisa Writes. I am the host of this lovely podcast. I put together this podcast because when I started writing for children, I realized we didn't have enough podcasts that celebrate diversity and representation in children's storytelling, especially with a focus on the author's writing experience. So that's why I put this podcast together. I'm also the founder of the Ottawa Black Book Club, where we read books strictly by authors of African and Black descent, because I believe that we are the only ones who have the power to shape our narrative one book at a time. It's open to all ethnicities, and our members are a multicultural group of book lovers from all around the world. So Trashina, tell me about yourself and what inspired you to write this lovely book, because I read it and I got emotional because I grew up really close to my dad. So what inspired you to write this book? I
grew up in a two-parent household, very loving family. I'm the youngest of three. I have two older brothers. So I was a daddy's girl from birth on. He was just very supportive, very loving. I know girls say a lot of time, like their dads are their first loves or their first introduction to what maybe you want your relationship to look like or values you look for in your partner. And that definitely was the case. He set the foundation for me. And then when I was 18, he passed away, very unexpected, crazy day. And then 2006 was when I published the book. I'm an educator as well, so I've been in a lot of classrooms, and I didn't see many representations of positive dads and their children, especially positive dads and their daughters. And I knew from my experience, from friends' experience, that dads are really important and they're valuable and they show up. And I think a lot of time in the Black community, we focus so much on what men are not doing and the dads that are not in the picture that we take away the light and appreciation from the dads who actually are. So this book was a homage to my own dad, but it also was a book to just empower and spread light on the amazing dads in our lives.
Why do you think there is so much negative representation of Black fathers?
I think that's because I feel like sometimes as a people, we focus more so on the things that are not right or on the things that are not going good in our lives. And people, when going through hardships, are more vocal than people who are at peace or who are happy. And then we jump on that bandwagon as well. Even though I had a positive father in my life, I have seen also a lot of dads who are not doing the things that they should be doing. And I jump on that bandwagon and I'm posting things. But I'm like, no, there are also dads out there who are doing the things, but they're just kind of behind the scenes.
Yeah. How important do you think it is for us to tell stories that represents Black fathers in a positive light? Because I feel that Black fathers are not celebrated enough. That's good Black fathers. I feel they're not celebrated enough. I feel that they are not given their flowers in their lifetime. They only get their flowers after they pass away, which shouldn't be.
Yeah, I agree. And I think in order for the legacies to continue and for more Black men to know that they have it within them to be great dads and great grandfathers, they have to be able to see it, because a lot of our young men didn't grow up with a positive role model, a positive dad. So they don't have those things in them. So they need these books, they need these podcasts, they need resources to gain the knowledge and the confidence within themselves to become those great dads.
Okay. What are some of the challenges you encountered when trying to write this book? Like from writing it to finding your illustrator to getting it published?
I think the hardships in writing it was just a very emotional process because it literally is my story. Everything that happened in the book is something that my dad and I shared. So it was just an emotional journey. It was hard to put it on paper. And because it was my story, I was very protective and very sensitive or even fearful of how it would be accepted, and how I would be able to deal with any backlash or negative comments that I would receive. So that was the hard part about writing it and actually getting the courage to produce it or publish it. But then I found a really good company, and they did all of the work. They found the illustrator, they did the layout, they helped me with editing, all of the copyright and legal things that go along with publishing a book, and they printed the copies. So that process actually wasn't as difficult. It was just having the patience,
Okay.
and having the, like, I can do it. Like, I can make this decision and be okay with it. And after I made the decision, be able to walk away from it.
Okay, so you didn't have to find the illustrator yourself. Mascot Books, I'm just taking a look at the name of, is that the company who helped with the layout and all of that?
Yeah, that's the company. And they're no longer publishing books, sadly, but that's the company that helped me.
Okay, but was it an expensive process? Because listeners will want to know. They're curious about it.
This particular book, from beginning to end, like the editing, the illustrations, the layout, the printing, and my first order, I got 500 books. That all of that, including the illustrator, was a little under 5,000.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. So a little over under 5,000. That's with the 500 copies and all.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow,
Mm-hmm.
that's a good deal. That's
Yeah.
a really really good deal. That's a really
Yeah.
good deal. Because I thought you published, you printed through, you did a Kickstarter. Did you do that?
I did. I did a GoFundMe. And with GoFundMe, I raised maybe like 65, 70% of the cost, and then I did the rest.
Okay.
So I had a lot of support, like a lot of support, which
Okay,
was
so
helpful.
talk us through your GoFundMe. Wait, you said you did a Kickstarter and a GoFundMe, or was it just strictly a GoFundMe you did?
Just the GoFundMe.
Okay, talk us through your GoFundMe process, because a lot of one of the challenges I experience, and I notice a lot of self-published authors experience, is raising funds.
Raising funds. I think when it comes to social media, something that I'm not, no, I don't want to say comfortable, something that I'm just not good at. I'll say that. Like, when it comes to my GoFundMe, the thing that helped me was I literally posted every single day.
Okay.
Every single day I posted on Instagram and Facebook, and I would have my friends make sure that they share. Every post was a little different, very personal. So it wasn't so that I wanted my audience members or everyone who donated, everyone who donated to be a part of the process and to really support me, not just because you love me, but because you actually love what it is that I was wanting to do. And then it was, I forget the exact amount, but people who say, for example, donated $100, they would get a free copy of the book and they would get a public mention. I think people who supported like $500, I actually thank them in the book. So whoever reads this book, whenever, 10 years down the line, they'll be able to see those names as well. So I think sometimes when you give people an incentive, they can get something in return, whether it be tangible or public acknowledgement, whatever it is, they're more willing to help out. But definitely consistency in posting is what helped me. But I will also say, I'm not sure about the rules now with GoFundMe, but a lot of the websites or a lot of the organizations that help you raise money, if you don't meet the goal, they take a percentage. So that's what happened. I didn't reach the complete 5,000, so they still took. So it was like a win, but still you're kind of losing some.
Yeah, but at least you got something.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Because definitely, at least a little is better than nothing at all.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I'm just looking at the ingredients, where you said, so what should we make today? Let's make our perfect daddy. And what you will need. So from everything you've written here, I think what I really love the most here is glasses, dance,
Mm-hmm.
singing ability, playtime, strength, unconditional love, hugs and kisses, persistence, spoiling power, quality time, patience, protection, trust, support, forgiveness, belief, or promise.
Mm-hmm.
When I read it, I started to get emotional because I didn't know until I got to the end of the book that your dad had passed away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How do you think that as diverse authors we can support each other?
Like this, having platforms like yours, having support groups on Facebook. I'm in a few for Black authors and illustrators, and just not being afraid to ask questions. I feel a lot of times in the Black community, asking for help is not something that we are comfortable with doing. We want to be able to do it all by ourselves and we want to be these strong people. And I'm like, nope, sometimes I actually need help. So just having the platform and having the space and having resources, people who've actually done it before, and be willing to help them and not necessarily charge them. Because I think a lot of us, which is okay, because I know we all trying to get it, but there just has to be a balance.
I know that we all want to get to that level where we can charge, because as much as writing is a passion and telling stories is a passion, it's also a business.
Yeah.
All the money we have put in, all we invested, we want to get it back.
Yeah.
So
I would love to make money though. Like I would love to quit my job and be like, I'm traveling with this book. Yeah, but I also believe that that'll come, I'm not in a rush to get there. I know I have to, when you're a cook, you got to scrub the floor before you can be the top chef. You have to go through these steps and you have to humble yourself, and just understand the process. So I want to get it out there. I want to get it out there, and however I can. And when I come across people like you and other organizations, yes, please have me. Whatever you need, 2-3 copies, have them all.
Yeah, it's
what you're doing. You're helping us. You know what I'm saying? Helping you is helping us. So why would I not? You're not charging me, because you could charge me for coming on your show. Editing, I edit videos, and that is the most tedious. You have to have patience for that. So if you're just asking for this book that, I charge people $15 for, and you're going to edit it, girl, take it. And thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it's a symbiotic relationship, and I think that maybe one day we are going to get there. Yeah. So, would you like to read the book? I like to ask authors to read their book.
Yes, I would love to read it. Do you want me to read the whole book or just certain pages? Whole book. All right, cool.
Because it's not a long. No,
it's not. It's 12 pages. Okay. I show the picture and then read.
If you want, you could just read it out, or you could show the pictures. It depends on you.
Okay.
If you're comfortable with.
Hi, my name.
Start from the very.
Okay.
Yeah, start from here.
Oh, all of it. All right.
All of it. Yeah.
Okay.
People want to buy it, after listening to you read the book, because I realized that there is something about an author actually reading his or her book.
I love it. All right.
So
18 Ingredients to Make Daddy, written by Trashina Conner, author Lydia Imba. Wow, this is the dedication page. Wow, never in my imagination, if you know me, it's huge, would I have thought I would be writing a dedication for my book. All the honor and glory goes to God, the I am. In spite of Trashina, you continue to show up and show out. Next to the inspiration for my book, my daddy, the late Reverend Robert Conner Jr., my first fan, first love, and everything in between. They may not know it, but my brothers, Robert Conner IV and William Conner, are the second inspirations for my book. Robert, watching you with your girls is pure joy. You are an amazing daddy. Thank you for being my biggest supporter. William, you are a great father. Your children are blessed to call you daddy, and I am honored to call you brother. To my rock, best friend, the strongest, most patient and loving woman I know, my mother, Arwanda Conner. Thank you for supporting all my crazy ideas, cheering me along the way. Ezekiel Arrington, thank you for your unconditional love, support, and listening to my daily adventures, both fantasy and reality. All my family and friends, without your donations, thoughts, and prayers, this would not have been possible. Thank you. Mascot Books, words cannot express my gratitude to you. Thank you for making this dream a reality. To my angel on earth, Irene Conner, and my special angels in heaven, Mary McCaskill and Wilma Lee, God truly outdid himself when he created you three. Thank you for the constant support, night whispers, phone prayers, and gentle pushes in the right direction.
Beautiful.
Now into the story. Hi, my name is MJ. Welcome to my magic kitchen. So what should we make today? I know, let's make our perfect daddy. As girls, this is our first love, so we have to make sure the recipe is just right. Remember, this is for my daddy, so feel free to change the recipe to make your perfect daddy, okay? Ready? What you will need: mixing bowl, huge spoon, caramel sauce, glasses, candy of choice, dancing singing ability, playtime, strength, unconditional love, hugs and kisses, persistence, spoiling powder, quality time, patience, protection, trust, support, forgiveness, belief, and a promise. Let's start with 1 cup of caramel sauce because I want him to look like me. You can use any sauce to make your daddy look like you. Some favorites are chocolate, white chocolate, and butterscotch. Orange slices are my favorite candy, so let's throw in 2 of those. They're so sweet. It's just how I want daddy to be. Glasses, 1 pair, so daddy can always see me when I am far or right by his side. He'll dance and sing, especially with me. We'll even have our own special song. Next, we'll add in some playtime. 1 cup of snow for snowball fights in the house. Shh, don't tell mommy. 1 bell from my bike because daddy will teach me how to ride. And 2 cups of feathers for those pillow fights at grandma's. This microphone will be just the right touch. 1 clock will provide quality time. Just daddy and me. Even if it's just watching a football game on TV or going to see a movie, just us. 2 cups of candy hearts will give daddy unconditional love for me and the family. No matter what happens, we will never stop giving each other this one. Hugs and kisses, a limitless amount. Trust. 2 cups. Daddy will trust me to live my own life, especially with all the amazing lessons he'll teach me over the years. Don't worry, this will happen slowly over time. But daddy will need to let me soar when I'm ready. I'll add 3 cups of persistence for my daddy. No matter how many times I may disappoint him or make mistakes, it will be a lot. He'll keep pushing me to be better. This leads to the next ingredient, forgiveness. 2 tissues needed. We can always add more later if we need to. I will mess up sometimes, but we have to clean those moments up, dust off, and keep growing. 5 cups of patience. After all, this is my first time being a daughter, so I may not always get it right. I know daddy wants to always be my superhero, but I do need to breathe and figure some things out for myself. 2 barbells for strength. Daddy will have to be strong to hold on to me, and one day even stronger to let me fly. Let's also add in these knee pads and a helmet for protection. I may want to be a dancer, a teacher like mommy, or a pastor like him, but regardless, I know he will always support me. We need 3.5 cups of this. A 1/2 cup of fairy dust so daddy believes in me, even if at times I stop believing in myself. Spoiling. We will need all the above over and over again. Maybe toys and candy too sometimes, but I really just need all of him because remember, Daddy is my first love. Okay, this one is very important. This last ingredient needs to be special to you. Maybe it's a coin or bracelet that makes you think of your daddy. For me, I'll be putting in this rose because every time I look at it, I see my perfect daddy. This item makes sure daddy will always be with me. Even when I can't hear him, he will always be right here. Or if I close my eyes tight enough, I'll be able to feel him near. One forever promise. Now we mix it all together and count. 1, 2, 3. Keep going. 4, 5. Almost there. 6, 7, 8. I can see him. 9, 10. You did it. You can place and draw a picture of your perfect daddy here. Here is mine.
This is amazing. You know, as I was listening to you read it, I started getting emotional because I'm still lucky to have my dad.
It's a blessing.
Yes, it's a blessing I don't take for granted. Because I was just imagining it and I'm like, no. I don't want to think about that. What are some tips you can give authors who want to write this kind of heartfelt story that celebrates parents, celebrates fathers, mothers? So we are not partial because I'm the oldest daughter. Yeah. So we are not.
Think if you've been blessed enough to have a parent or a grandparent or even an aunt, anyone in your family who just loved you and supported you, just write your story, right? My experience with, protection, how my dad protected me could be totally different from how you might look at protection. Or when I think of quality time with my dad, it literally was like watching football. I hate football, but it was because it was with him, so it was special. Quality time for you and your dad, I'm sure, is something completely different. So I think just not necessarily thinking about what your audience might want to read or what's popular in the world right now, but we all have such unique stories. So when you're just honest and transparent about your own experiences, I think it reads better. Your audience is going to eat it up more, and it's going to live long.
Yeah. What do you hope to see for your books?
Longevity. Like I wanted longevity. This book I wrote in 2016. So this is the 7th year and it's still doing good. I don't push it as much as I could or as much as I should, but people still will like send me a video. Someone saw me a recording. People were reading it. Maybe it was like October at some festival in Harlem. So longevity and the ability to stand on its own, even when I'm not in the room or I'm not the one who initiated it, but it's just out there and it's making people happy and bringing families together.
Okay. Have you done school visits?
Yeah. I have. Those are my favorite.
What is the process? I
work in the school system, so I work in education. And sometimes it's easier than not to get people to come in. It's also if you have a budget, that could have a lot to do with it. The content of the story, like a lot of schools have been very supportive of my story, but then a lot of schools also have not because they are very sensitive to children who don't have dads in their lives or don't have positive male role models. So I've been on both sides, but I would think just reach out. Like I'm constantly reaching out to schools. I'll reach out to 5 one day. I might get one response and that might or might not go through. A lot of parents are also really good people to have to talk to because then they can go talk to a teacher. For me, it's usually the teacher who gets me into the school versus like the principal or the superintendent or something. So it's just like word of mouth, or like a kid will see it and then they'll share with their mom and then their mom will want the whole class. So yeah.
Okay, so talk us through a school visit.
Okay.
Because I like to ask all these questions because a listener isn't here to ask you firsthand. what a school visit entails.
Yeah.
I've seen it on some author pages where they say, oh, for a school visit we charge X amount of money. The school has to order X amount of books, all of that. How does it work?
When I first started, it was literally, I didn't have any requirements or I just wanted to get in there. I didn't care if you paid me. I didn't really care if you bought books. I would recommend it, but it wasn't a requirement because I literally just wanted to get in the schools. So for the first couple of years, it was that, but I never left the school without them purchasing books. So even though I didn't ask, they always purchased books. It was one school here called Excellence Girls, and I went to their school maybe 3 years in a row, and every year they bought enough books for their entire third grade class. So I was never leaving without selling at least 80 books. So that was
Sorry to interrupt. So when you're going for the visit, you will take your physical books there to sell, or they order books in advance?
So for this school specifically, I took this book, or they ordered in advance because they wanted them. I had another situation where the teacher told me, you can bring the books and we can sell them to the staff, and we'll also have a sign-up sheet. If kids were interested, then we would share it with their parents, and then they could order. That was not successful at all. My most recent school visit was to a school here in Manhattan. They bought, I want to say 5 books, but now I do charge a fee to go to schools, or you have to buy books. So I charge if it's for an hour, $100 fee, or you can buy books. Totally up to you.
Okay, so either of the two. So either they buy books or they just pay.
Yeah.
For the time.
Yeah. To me, it makes more sense to buy the books because you'll actually get something in return. So that's what I've gotten more of versus than someone just pay. I don't know. So yeah, but I give them the option. But when I go to a school, this last one is the most clear in my mind because it was last month. So I got to the school. The teacher introduced me. I read the book. And then something the teacher did that I thought was really cool. She had the kids write down ingredients for someone who was important in their life that I thought was really cool and really special. I usually have my own activities, but she had one and I loved it so much. I was like, yeah, go ahead, do that. And then my favorite part is children always have the best questions. And they're not adults, so they don't really have filters. They're not disrespectful ever, but they're gonna ask you whatever comes to their mind. And that's actually how I got that inspiration for my next book that I'm publishing now, from a school visit, just listening to what they want, what their thoughts are, and they asking me the same. Yeah, so that's the gist.
So how long do you stay for a standard school visit is how many hours?
1 hour.
Just 1 hour?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I thought you were there for 2 hours at least.
For this last visit, it was an hour. If I'm visiting multiple classes, then it's longer. But usually it's one huge presentation. They'll bring all the kids to the auditorium or the gym or something. And then, or I go to one classroom, right? So I read the book, we do a little activity, maybe a little movement, something, because I'm a dancer as well, and I know kids like to move, and then they ask questions. So yeah, an hour is the max time though.
Oh, okay. So you start so when you get to the school, you read the book, and then you do activities, and then you talk about the book?
Yeah, or I talk about the book first and why I wrote the book. I usually ask them, because it's 18 ingredients to make that, so their heads automatically go to cooking. So I'll ask what are ingredients to make pizza, or what are ingredients to make cake, and why they're all important, and then that leads into my 18 ingredients book. And then I read the book. Then I have little activity around the book, and then they ask questions.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So what are you working on now?
My next book that hopefully will be out this year. I've had a trying time with it. I had to switch publishing companies, but whatever, it's coming. It's called Flowers for Mommy.
Okay.
And like I said, this book was inspired by my mom, of course, but I was at a reading 18 Ingredients to Make Daddy, and a little boy said, "So when your mom dies, are you going to write a book for her?" And it just like,
We take it for granted that they will always be here.
yeah, yeah. So I was like, no, I'm not going to wait. I'm going to give her flowers now because she is everything to me. So this book is literally just giving my mom and all the women in my life their flowers now for all of the things that we as children, even as adult children, take for granted, you know, like them calling or them being able to visit or you being able to visit them or the conversations or the advice, the things that we're used to getting, but we don't always understand what a blessing it is to have these amazing women.
You know, you said something about calls. You know, I don't know, it's making me emotional, but I remember like my mom calls us every day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she would always call every day just to check in. Appreciate them. My friend says her mom's phone is still at her house. She
Mm-hmm.
keeps it in her bedroom because she can't give it to anyone else. I said, so
Yep.
what do you do? She said she goes through it. She reads old messages. She charges
Yep.
the phone sometimes, and she just
Yep.
keeps it there, you know?
Yep. So while they're here, like
Yeah.
it's a beautiful blessing that most of us take for granted, myself included. So that's the next book, and I'm also doing an activity book for children where they'll be able to like learn sign language, a few journaling pages, helping them write their own story. So those are my next two projects.
Oh, that's great. My first children's book, Crowning Glory, actually has an activity book.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, people want to buy your books. Where can they buy your books from? Where can they find your books?
You can find my books on my website, which is www.mjsstories.com. The book is also available on Amazon.
Okay. And what's your Instagram handle? Are you on Instagram?
Instagram is mjstories3, and then Facebook is Trashina Conner.
Okay. Thank you so much, Trashina. It's been lovely chatting with you this morning. This is so much. And please, when your next book is ready, send it to me. We'll do another
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much.